Welcome back. Well, we have listed on all the top stocks for you. Now let's get into further detail on all these names, and let's get some fundamental analysis. Dipan Mehta of Elixir Equities joins us on the show. Hi Dipan, good morning. Hope you're feeling good this morning. Well, let's discuss a few stocks, and Manappuram Finance is one such stock that comes to mind because the RBI has lifted the curbs on their arm, Ashirwad. Now, the stock has seen a bit of a recovery from those lows of around 145, 150 odd. What do you make of the stock at around 180 rupees? This is definitely good news. It's had its share of challenges, and valuation-wise, it trades at a big discount in comparison to Muthoot. One would say rightfully so. Your view?
Yeah, good morning, Nigel, and thank you for having me on your show. Yes, I think certainly there's a trading, I would say, valuation gap between Manappuram and Muthoot Finance. But the reason for that is that Manappuram has been focusing on non-gold loans as well. I think that contributes anywhere from 35 to 40% of its AUM. And it has had certain challenges over there, whereas Muthoot has focused largely on gold loans. And it's been quite profitable for the company. And with the way gold prices have gone up, it just does create a gap for them to lend further to their existing clients. But I think with this positive news, we may see the gap, valuation gap narrowing between the two companies. And there could certainly be a very strong trading rally in Manappuram given this news. But I want to keep in mind that although the restriction on Ashirwad has been raised, the prospects of the entire sector have come under cloud, considering the kind of spike in NPS we have seen in the microfinance sector.
And Dipan, hi, we'll talk about the microfinance sector as well in just a bit. But just a few names, more names. RIL is seeing some strength. From 1,200 rupees, it's seen about a 5-6% kind of a pop over the last few days. So any thoughts there, Reliance? And the second one is Dixon, which sold off 9-10% yesterday. Just under 17,000 now. High was about 20. But 6 months back, the stock was at about 10,000 rupees. It's how you look at it. Time frames, really. But your thoughts, RIL and then, of course, Dixon.
See, I think Dixon could be a natural correction. I haven't seen any adverse news flow over there. It's an expensive stock, and at any point of time, if the results are not that great, then certainly you could see a sell-off in it, and which is what has happened over there. Reliance, I think it's more to do with some buzz around the Jio IPO. But I don't think that if an IPO comes, it's great news for Reliance shareholders because the holding company discount will start creeping into Reliance Industries. And that's never very good for minority shareholders. So I would just be a bit cautious on Reliance. And Dixon, I think, as a measure of disclosure, we are invested in it. So a minor correction shouldn't shake out long-term investors. So I would remain invested in Dixon for the time being.
Paytm, any thoughts? High was about 1,000 rupees, down to about 900.
See, I think that, considering the market structure and the fact that we expect a further correction, I think high price stocks, expensive stocks may lead the correction if and when that takes place. So that may be a good opportunity to buy Paytm and some of the platform companies after they've corrected even further from here. But these are companies you need to keep on your watch list, likes of, Paytm, Zomato, and further correction would make them even more interesting and provide a bit more comfort in terms of valuation. But nonetheless, I think the kind of bad news which was coming from Paytm certainly has stopped in the last few months or so. And we look forward to a good earnings report from Paytm and the progress which they are making towards getting into solid profitability.
Zomato high from about 300 plus down to about 250. Just one more sort of space is microfinance, which you kind of referred to earlier. Names like the decent quality names like Credit Access, etc., have seen a decent bounce. I mean, from 800 to almost 1,100 at the high yesterday, and then it cooled off. Anything here, Dipan?
No, I think, Prashant, I would like to wait for some more reforms in the microfinance sector. And, every few years, and I've been a big investor in all these companies, and every few years they get into some tangle with NPAs, and that's not acceptable. When the times are good, they report 30-40% type of growth rates, and then suddenly 1 or 2 quarters, the NPAs spike in such a way that they have to make massive provisioning. So I don't think that from this kind of volatility is acceptable from an investor's perspective. So I would just like to wait and watch and see how the sector evolves. It's very important from the nation and from the economy point of view that we have a vibrant microfinance sector. And some of the reforms they are talking about are very important, but implementation is the key over here. And the one real data point we're watching out is the restriction on number of loans that can be given to an individual. I think that's what has really spoiled the industry.
Okay, all right.
With us, Dipan, any thoughts? That conversation with the management of Ashiana, any thoughts? And it's not just Ashiana, but the broader commentary, and there are lots of listed players from that market.
No, Prashant, I think very good interview and quite candid in terms of what the reality is there in the market. So that's great. And I did not know that they were so well diversified geographically, which offers some comfort, because if one particular sector, one particular region, there's a slowdown, at other sectors and other regions can pick up. So generally positive, but I don't have much of knowledge about the company. So I'd reserve my judgment on that stock for the time being.